Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today is Good Friday, so I'm taking just a week break on the Love to Bake book and doing hot cross buns. I still have a British recipe. It's kind of a typical British food, I think. And so we're going to do that one today. So what I've done first is I've got 300 milliliters of full fat milk, so whole milk in the States. I brought it to a boil. And now I'm just going to add my 50 grams of butter. The funny thing is the recipe I found doesn't necessarily say what kind of butter. I'm just going to assume unsalted because that's what I've been using lately. So I'm just going to remove it from the heat and let that, combine and melt. Okay. That needs to come all the way down to room temperature before I add it to my mix to make the buns itself. So that might take a little bit. Okay, while that is cooling though, I can go ahead and get started on the floured part of my buns. I have never made these before, so this is kind of exciting. I've also never had one, never tasted them. So yay, fun, new stuff. All right, so I've got bread flour. I have 500 grams of bread flour to add to my bowl. Okay, and salt. So I have a teaspoon of salt and I have my 75 grams of castor sugar. So that's kind of how I know it's a British recipe, because it's got castor sugar instead of granulated like we would in the States. And then I've got 7 grams of yeast, or a packet of yeast. Okay, and I'm going to add that to my flour. All right, and so I just need to mix that. All mixed up. Now I need to make a well in the center. This seems to be the classic thing with breads, is to make that well in the center. I guess so you can get more of the egg and the stuff connected to everything. Add the warm milk and butter mixture. But it had say cool until it reaches hand temperature. So I might have to give this a few more minutes before we add that in. Okay, the butter mixture and the milk is down to hand temperature. I mean, I can touch the pot without hurting myself, and I can, I assume that's hand temperature. Anyway, so we're ready to add it to our bowl. Okay, and then it also says to add the beaten egg, just one egg. Again, it doesn't necessarily say whether it's, a medium, large, whatever egg. So, and then we'll just mix it. Mix well with a spoon until your hands to form a sticky dough. Okay. I need to transfer it onto a lightly floured surface. So I'm just going to lightly flour my area here, though it's not as sticky as it suggests in there. And knead using the heel of your hand to stretch out the dough. Just getting all the rest of the stuff at the bottom. Okay, the heel of your hand to stretch out the dough, then bring it back together. Continue kneading until smooth and elastic. About 5 minutes. I like that they give me 5 minutes. That's good. Okay, it's been probably more like 6 minutes. It's pretty smooth looking, a lot more elastic than it was. So we're gonna go with that. Now I need to let this rise, for an hour. So I've got my oiled bowl right here. I'm just gonna place it in there, and I don't think I need to cover it. Cover with oiled cling film. So I'll do that and then let it rise for an hour. Okay, so our first hour of rising has passed. We've got a nice dough ready to add our fruit into it. So we need to add sultanas. So I've got 75 grams of golden raisins, sultanas, along with 50 grams of mixed peel, which is, I think, like the fruit you put in like a fruit cake. Okay, so I'm going to add that. I've also got 1 apple, peeled, cored, and finely chopped. Didn't really say how many grams, it just said 1 apple. So I've got an apple. Okay, and then I need to add zest of 1 orange. So I'm going to zest my orange real fast for you guys. Okay, 1 orange zest added to my bowl. The orange zest always smells so good, or I guess lemon zest, because that's what I've been doing lately. All right, and then I need 1 teaspoon of ground cinnamon. Orange and cinnamon is going to make an interesting combination, if you ask me. Okay, and then knead everything until it's well mixed. So I'm going to knead it up. What I have found interesting, because I've done a lot of looking into different hot cross buns recipes in the last few weeks, is how varied they are. Like basically you could put fruit in a bun and put a cross on top and it's a hot cross bun. So I don't know what the traditional fruit, I think it's raisins. Whether they're golden, I don't know. But those seem to be the traditional add-ins, and everything else you just kind of vary on your own. So I guess you could do whatever you wanted. Okay, now that I've got it kind of combined, I'm going to knead it on my counter a little bit better. Because I definitely need a bigger bowl. It's a lot of fruit. Okay, I don't know how much more combined I'm going to get than this. I am just going to put that in my bowl. It is supposed to double in size again after an hour. So yeah, I'm going to get a bigger bowl. I don't have one ready to go. And then I'm just going to oil that, put that in there, and then we'll wait another hour for it to rise. All right, we have let an hour pass by, and our dough is now risen. Looks really good. Smells really flavorful. There's a lot of cinnamon is really the majority of the smell I have. But what we're going to do now is I need to divide my dough into 15 pieces. That's what it says. I think I'm going to do 16. Because one, if they're a little smaller, it's not the end of the world. And 2, I can divide in half and half and half and get to 16, whereas 15 I have to awkwardly like just pace it out. So, and we've seen in previous videos how good I am at that. So I'm going to turn this out onto my lightly floured surface. Yeah, it just says divide the dough, not to even knead it or anything, but I'm going to do it just a little bit just to kind of get some of that flour wrapped around. Okay. Just because there was just so much fruit when I was putting that on, it didn't really want to stick. Okay, so I'm going to divide it into 16 because, yeah, 15 would just be a little hard for me to gauge. Do what you will. Okay, so that is my 16 pieces. That first one I did not get in very good half, so that's why I was kind of laughing there. All right, So I just need to roll each piece into a ball on the lightly floured countertop. So it does appear to want a little flour on the outside of these, which makes it a little easier to handle anyway. So there we got a nice little ball, and I'm going to place it on my parchment paper. Again, it just says it will rise, so give them some space because I'm going to leave them rise for another hour. So I'm going to put them on there and then kind of go from there to see how big or how much space I can put in between if I just use one parchment paper or one baking pan. I'm also going to try to pull them a little bit so they don't have that big seam right in the end, on top when they go to bake. There we go. All right, so I've got my 16 rolls. I'm just going to adjust them a little bit here. Oh, that one's kind of small. So they're not going to rise and touch, hopefully. I don't think these are supposed to touch when they rise. Anyway, so while I do that, I am going to let them rise for yet another hour. So this is kind of a lengthy bake. I should have started this earlier in the morning if I wanted to have these for lunch. And anybody who has these for breakfast is an overachiever. I guess maybe you could you chill the dough maybe at this point and then pull them out? I don't know. Anyway, so there is my hot cross buns so far, and we're going to let them rise for another hour. Okay, my timer is just about to go off for the hour, so I'm just going to get the paste going for the cross on the hot cross buns. So I have 75 grams of plain flour or all-purpose flour, and I just have a cup of water here because it says 5 tablespoons of water, but then it says to add it 1 tablespoon at a time. So I'm just going to start with that. All right. So that's one. We need to make a thick paste with this. But I need to be able to pipe it into a cross. So we'll just go from there. I'm going to need more than 1 tablespoon of water. I know that, but so that's 2. My oven is just about heated up as well. We're cooking these at 220 degrees Celsius, which is about 430 degrees Fahrenheit. So when that beeps, don't be surprised. Okay, I need 3 tablespoons of water. Okay, that was 5 tablespoons, but I'm not going to be able to pipe that, so I'm going to just add 1 more tablespoon. So I'm at 6. I can always, get more flour, I guess, if I completely mess it up. Okay, this should be a little easier to pipe. So I'm just going to throw it into my bag that I have ready to go. It's going to be a little interesting. Just flour and water. Okay. All right. So now that I've got that in my bag, I am just going to cut a little snippet off the end. It says to use a pipe or, like a tip. I don't know. I guess I'm not all for that. Extra dishes and all. Okay. And then they look so good. They rose pretty nicely. So now I'm just going to put a cross on each of these, and then we'll get them in the oven. My oven is all heated up. It went off just a minute ago, so here we go. Ooh. a learning curve on this. I think I need a larger hole. Okay. This is a curious thing to do. All right, that is definitely the weirdest consistency stuff I have ever piped out of a bag. But we are going to stick these in the oven for about 20 minutes at 220 degrees Celsius, 430 degrees Fahrenheit. All right, my timer just went off, so I'm going to get my hot cross buns out of the oven. Okay, they look good. I was a little worried at first when I put them in because they started to split. And then the flour part isn't as distinct as I've seen in some hot cross buns pictures, but they still look really good. And then they smell delicious. There's a really good smell going through the house. What I have here is just some apricot jam that I have melted down in the microwave a little bit, and I'm just going to glaze it over top because that's what it says to do. And that's giving you a really pretty color. Okay, they now have their apricot jam glaze on top. I got to give them just a minute to cool so I don't scald myself while eating them, and then we're going to taste one. Okay, I'm going to taste one because I cannot resist. They look really good. The cross is definitely not as pronounced. This one's a little bit better, as I was hoping. But I think some of the other ones use like an icing, and this is just like a dough. So, you know, whatever. Anyway, it looks cute. I can't imagine that I was going to taste any bit. Yeah, we'll just taste it. Oh, I really like that. Okay, so it peels apart really good. It's really stretchy. It's got a nice peel and still warm. I wanted to eat it warm. That's really good. I like it. The jam on top is just slightly sweet, and the rest of the bread is just like a good fruity taste. I don't know. Something got a little cooked. Okay, yeah, those are really good. Nice light little lunch, which is awesome because it's perfect for fasting on Good Friday. But yeah, I'll give these a thumbs up. These are actually from, I have to show you the book, a planner, Catholic Mothers planner a friend gave to me from catholicmothers.co.uk or ascensionpress.com. So some really good resources out there if you guys would like to try that. I give it a win. It was good. The dough on top was weird, but whatever. If you like this video, go check out some of my other ones. Like, subscribe, and then I'll get back to the Love to Bake book next week. But it's a nice little break and treat. All right. See you next bake.